Hello, everybody, and welcome to something that's kind of just been thrown together last minute, but we're going to start doing on a weekly basis. The RHO podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined here today by James Knox, who has
Hello?
yeah,
Hello?
who has
Hello?
just been to the hospital and back, mate.
No,
You wanna
I
tell
wouldn't
this, tell the
say.
viewers what's happened there? Yeah.
Uh, oh, I shut my wrist at the door.
Yes.
So I didn't go to hospital. I've done this, bit of
Yeah,
a
just a wee bit of clickbait.
bit, bit, wee bit of kickbait. It has to be done. It has to be done. You'll see that in the title now.
Yeah, exactly. So, what we decided to do is a lot of stuff has been going on in RHO since the last Grand Prix, um, and I figured that
Yep.
trying to sum it all up during the race is not an amazing idea, and people might want to actually listen to this, um, or not. Who
Amazingly.
knows? Yeah.
If
So
if they do, if they feel like it.
if they feel like it, they'll listen to it, and that's kind of the sort of target demographic I'm going for here. So if people listen to it, they'll listen to it. If not, they don't. But it's here, so listen to it, please. Anyway,
Yep.
what we're gonna do is talk about the things that have happened in the week, and we will discuss things that we're looking forward to for this weekend's race. So France, James, you've never driven here, and it looks like you're not driving this weekend as well. So,
No,
but
no,
from
no, I'm
what you've
not. No.
seen, from what you've seen in practice today, what do you make of the track?
Sorry, mate, you cut out a bit.
Oh right. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying. From what you've seen in France, right? What do you make out of the track? What do you think? Is that a bit of a ripper, or is it
Um,
more like a Tesco car parking lot? What do you think?
from what I've seen, it seems quite technical. Really, it seems like quite a difficult track to really sort of get to grips with. But we've seen our fair share of drivers practicing on the track
Yeah.
over the
Oh
past
my goodness me. If we.
few hours.
Yeah, it's been very very surprising to see so many people attending practice. I think we had a record of 20 drivers setting laps, which is, I mean, for road racing standards, that's a lot. Um, we've never actually managed to get that many people in practice before. So it's clear that a lot of people are looking to see if they can maximize on the opportunity this weekend.
Yeah,
And
hundred percent.
I think another massive contributing factor to that has to be, I mean, it's the elephant in the room, mate. 3 new teams joining the grids
Oh,
ahead of round
it's,
4.
it's honestly it's such an incredible amount, and the fact that they've all come in new liveries, different cars. I mean, you've got Audi making a completely different chassis,
Yeah,
which is just amazing in itself.
Audi
Um,
that made them. They've made a brand new chassis. Like, they just took the car that was provided to
yeah,
them, and they just made a completely new one. Now that was kind of
yeah,
frowned upon by a couple of team owners, and people that
yeah.
have had it. But a lot of other people thought it was quite nice. What do you make of it? What do you think?
Well, I mean, as a team owner myself, I thought it was all right. I thought they've made use of the car quite well. They've kept within the boundaries as best they can, and it's created a car that's, well, quite frankly, unique. And I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, I think personally, it's definitely pushing the argument of how much change is allowed on these cars,
Yeah,
which
I
was
think
never really, yeah.
that was the conversation that was brought up with a lot of team owners, that it strayed very far from a lot of the other chassis, but it's
Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, they've got it out there and they've really shown what they can do. So who
exactly,
knows, if full regulations do come in for next season, then they'll be up there.
exactly, and that's I think that I mean, as a person who enforces these regulations, has definitely caused me to look at this with a different eye. So there'll
Yeah,
definitely be rules in place,
hmm
definitely promoting these kinds of changes, but also
yeah,
making sure that they stay within a certain confinement. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, Audi really pushing that boat out, so it's good to see. We're
yeah.
now going to move
Brilliant.
on to, we'll save the best for last, the one that your
Okay.
favorite team, yeah.
Yeah, my
Uh,
favourite team. That's the one.
we're gonna talk about, I think, Volante,
Volante. Yeah.
Volante. Oh,
Vol-
I butchered that
Volant.
name. I'm quite good at butchering
Volant.
names. So,
Volant. It's Volant, isn't it?
Veloce, Veloce. Okay,
Volant.
we're going down a different route
There we
now.
go.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Valant. We'll go with Valant, right? I think practice definitely changed our opinions on Valance.
Oh yeah,
100%.
100%. Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, seeing that car out there, I mean, obviously on your screen, initially they'd set some pretty quick laps. I mean, I haven't really seen where they've topped off as every other driver has joined for practice. But
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's interesting because the driver they've got is it Edwards? Edwards, I think it is.
I forgot his name.
Is his name?
If I just check the time screens just now.
I think it's Logan Edward.
Luxy, also I think Logan Edward. I think that's what his
Logan.
name is. Yeah.
Yeah, he came out the gates and immediately made an impact, and I think that was what really threw a lot of us off. That he came out on track and immediately made an impact.
Yeah.
So he was up there pretty quickly. So
we definitely didn't expect it. Yeah.
It was a considering as well they didn't publicly announce the reveal of the car. I think everyone was very confused. This new team as they rolled out the garage, but seeing that car up the top is pretty cool.
Valance, a team that I think they didn't really want to go for a massive press reveal. They kind of just wanted to get down to business and do the talking on track. So I appreciate that. They delivered. Cool. They did the talking. They've been screaming.
Really they've been screaming all they want.
I know exactly.
It's been a roller coaster for them as well. Because I think what team did they take over again? What was the team?
They've just joined the grid.
Or did they just join? Yeah. Okay, so they joined the grid. I mean, it's been signing drivers. I think just seeing them progress as well as a new team is pretty lovely to see, and it's what we want to see in a row. But it's nice to have another team on the grid.
I know, 100%. It's great to see that. And they're P6 in the practice session. Last I've checked the times, so they're clearly there. They've got pace, and it'll be interesting to see how they take that forward. Now, we have to talk about it. So brace yourself.
That's that, isn't it?
We did just brush across the whole concept of teams being replaced. Now, this happens when teams they're just inactive, mate. Like, they just don't tell me that they've just gone off to their Mars, and they don't tell me that they're not showing up. So then obviously I get rid of them, and then I'll replace them with someone else who's more contending.
Right.
We did just also talk about the whole idea of doing the talking on track, and we said that Valant's been screaming. Well, this team's been shouting down a megaphone, mate, and honestly, one of the main reasons we're here talking about this right now is this team. It's Bentley.
They've really come out the gates. I think they've proved to everyone that they're not just a PR statement. It's a fully fledged team with fully fledged efforts.
It's unbelievable the amount of dedication that I've seen today from Bentley. Like, it is crazy. Like, to lengths where I've even gone, like, do these guys do anything else in their free time, or like my goodness me, it's like they're being paid like an hourly rate to race these cars. And it's honestly, I mean, like, I'm not gonna ever put anyone off, like, enjoying the game, but that's definitely questions that I started asking myself. I think we've just checked now. 160 laps clocked by their lead driver, Miles Goethe. 160 laps. That is mental. Like, if he does not get on the podium this week, right, I'm gonna be surprised. Like, I'm gonna be very, very surprised.
Yeah. He's really sort of come out of nowhere. I mean, to be 2/10 off young Lee as well, who dominated Hungary, is such an achievement. I don't think he knows how much of an achievement it is yet.
He's a brand new driver. Like, he was doing test runs in the Lexus in Hungary, and that got him under the eyes of the Aberforth group, which owns the Bentley team. They actually replaced Sukhoi, which was, I mean, let's say they weren't really present to look at on track. We never really did see them on track.
It's a shame, but it happens. So
I know, like, can't really do much. Sometimes a project just doesn't work, and you got to just accept it. But this one's definitely working. If it's not working, I don't know what else they need to make it working. Sonny must be a very, very happy guy right now.
Oh god, yeah. Both drivers. How many laps have they done? I think as a team
as a
already,
team,
like 200
as a team,
plus, I
they're
reckon,
definitely above 200 laps as a team, 100%.
which is just mind blowing to be
It
honest.
is. It
I can't really,
is. It
I
is.
can't really, can't really
I
get my head around it.
I know.
It just doesn't feel right.
It's crazy, dude.
It's crazy, and as well
It
considering as well that they're a team that is now at literally the back, so they're going to have to build up because they have taken over Sukhoi. They're going to have to build the best they can, and it's
I
going to
know.
be so tough for them.
I guess that's why they're kind of taking this like immediate approach. It's round 4, and they've only got, last I checked, 1 point
Yeah,
scored
they've got
by I think it was Sinyo Masa.
anyway.
Yeah, 2 points.
Yeah,
2 points. Two
yeah,
points scored by Sinyo Masa. That for I think that they really have turned the boat around with this team. Like
yeah,
it's insane. Like we saw that car, mate, and we knew like it's equal league. It's an equal league, equal cars. But I saw that car and I was like, that's gonna be at the front. Like I just like you just know. You just see a car and you can see that it's gonna be fast or you can see that it's gonna be slow. Like don't tell me you saw the Suko and you're like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a front runner, mate. Like that was not what ran through your head.
no,
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, immediately seeing that Bentley, it was kind of like, you know, we immediately started thinking, can the drivers live up to the hype? And both of them have in practice. Obviously, practice. We don't know race pace. We don't know quali pace. For all we know, all that practice was just kind of pointless because it all comes down to one lap pace in the end, not 160 lap pace. But
Yeah, exactly.
I think over those 160 laps, the consistency you can get though is beneficial, and yeah, it's a team that have very high aspirations.
100%, man. Honestly, it's crazy, and I'm really excited to see how this. Apologies as my mic cut out there. Embarrassing, but we move. What was I talking about again?
Bentley,
Oh, Bentley. Yeah. Um, as I was saying, right. I think it's finally exciting to see if someone could actually compete with Young Lee because we've been
yeah,
lacking that competition since the start of the season. And like,
yeah,
I mean, as a driver yourself, this is literally what I was gonna go on to next, right? Because
yeah.
that performance you put in Hungary was actually spectacular. Like, I think
Thank
probably
you,
your best race this season.
thank you.
But it must have been frustrating knowing that no matter how much you were pushing, that gap wasn't closing up ahead. Do you want to
Yeah,
just
I mean,
talk me through that?
yeah, I mean, it was a very frustrating day. I think for both me and Buck, who we put a lot of effort into trying to do the best we can for obviously it's Luck's home race, so we wanted to get the best out of the race that we could, but the one guy denying us a 1-2 every single time is the same guy, and I think that it's a blow. Obviously, I mean, when you're pushing as hard as possible and you just see this one guy just gapping, it is a blow. But I think it's racing and it's it's how it is. So we've tried pushing the best we can for this weekend, but obviously I can't race and Luck is struggling with the track. So I think we can just meet, and our last minute signing Sinyo is still trying to get to grips with the new car. But I mean, it's just what can you do? It's this stuff happens, and we'll try and make a comeback in the last 5 races, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough,
Yeah, no,
especially
100%. No, yeah, continue.
yeah, no, it's especially with Bentley breathing down our necks, or however you say it. It's
Yeah, I know, man.
it's difficult. It's difficult for us.
However, there is another thing that we will have to now talk about. I think the idea of, I mean, as you all know, it's been protested quite a lot by a number of drivers, and P brake has now finally been removed.
Yeah.
Do you think that's made a significant difference in bunching the grid up together, or do you think it's where? I mean, Young Lee at the end of that practice session, he's still ahead. But the Bentley driver, the Scottish rookie Miles Gotha, he is 2 tenths behind him. Do you think the shift P, not shift P, sorry. Do you think the P brake being removed has that had anything to do with bunching the field up?
Yeah, no, it has, and I think that was something that was immediately noticed as well. Just in general, I think because bear in mind in Hungary, they were a good Young Lee was a good 2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, no.
Compared that to now,
Mhm.
where he's only 2 tenths ahead. Granted, Gotha had a lot more laps of practice, but still that gap is a lot closer. And as well, bear in mind, Gotha literally today has just tried this car, whereas Young Lee's been driving this for about 2 seasons now.
2 seasons.
So he's got a lot more experience, and the rookie is obviously trying to get grips with the car. 160 laps is a lot. Hopefully, it didn't drain him too much, but I think we're in for a good fight on Saturday. Seeing those two, I reckon, they're going to be in for a massive battle. Those two, so we'll see what happens. But I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited as well. And then I think the last few things on my notes for this podcast, unless you want to add anything else, I would like to talk about CHP because
Yeah,
they had they had a great race in Hungary. They brought home a lot of points, but we're looking at the practice results now, and they're down in 15th and 18th. So I don't know. Questions start asking yourself: was that just a fluke in their performance? Because they signed Alex Kakira, the absolute goat himself, last weekend, and he actually did quite well. To my surprise, right? I was not expecting the kid to get points at all. I thought, like, if anything, he'll get like the final few positions that you get because everyone else is retired. But no, he was there and he didn't get lapped. And honestly, I think that was commendable. But now they look like they're off the pace again. Do you think we should just wait until race day to make any assumptions, or do you think this is maybe an indication that they're going to struggle this weekend?
I mean, look, this is the first day of practice. There's 3 more days, but I think it's already not a good sign being that far back, considering how far up front they were in Hungary. But I mean, CHP, they're P5 in the Champ Constructors as it stands, with Hack Sport right up there, right behind them, and they're 1 point behind Vertigo. So they've got a lot of ground to make up, and getting 15th and 18th in practice isn't the best sign for them.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. So,
and I think it's I mean, if they can try and improve, I mean, who knows? They might not have even been pushing, and they might have only had like 3-4 laps between the drivers, which isn't a lot, but that's how it can go. I mean, that's how that's how I usually do it. But, I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I didn't see many CHPs in practice, so I assume they didn't practice as much as other teams. But yeah, I hope I do, because this is one of the newest sort of teams to the grid, and the newest members to the grid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a young team, and I think this initial season is everything for them. So if they can push for that fourth, I think they'll love that.
Yeah, of course. It'll definitely be interesting to see. And I've actually just got 2 more things to talk about, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
I think something that's kind of gone a bit under the bus, right? Even considering I'm the team owner of this team, and something that I've kind of just left for granted, but something that has been raised by Young Lee himself and a couple of other drivers who have now started to see if they can maybe sneak their way into this opportunity, and that is the dynamic between Spirit and Young Lee. I think that is definitely, I mean, heading into round 4 now, I think that's definitely starting to pick up some trajectory when it comes to talking about it. Now we're into round four.
Yeah.
After just finishing at what was it, Hungary. I mean, Lexus, as they are now, they lead the championship, but 11 points down is you guys, Fox Motorsports. So we'll be needing everything we need to see if we can keep that trajectory going. Even with the win, we lost 3 points in Hungary to you guys. So it's imperative that we're making positions. However, while Youngly leads the standings with 77 points, Spirit has only brought 4 to that contribution. And the one-off reserve driver, Mick, who stepped in at Singapore, is 5th in the standings with 1 race attended. Now, that's bringing up questions, mate. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, you're obviously, I know maybe not something that crosses your mind, but definitely you're out there with your teammate, and you're noticing it's sort of a one-man show up ahead that you're trying to compete with. Obviously, he's far ahead, but the next thing you notice is that the other Lexus car is nowhere to be seen. So, what do you make of that? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, the second driver for Lexus just hasn't really been there, and I think the only Lexus seen on track is the one up front, apart from Singapore. But yeah, I mean, Singapore, when in Singapore, they got that second driver when they needed it most. To get P1 and P3, while my team, Fox Motorsport, only had one driver, and that was me. So it was very hard to fight that. Because, I mean, you guys got 41 points in Singapore, whereas we got 18. So it dropped us off a lot. But I think, the relationship between, Young Lee and Spirit Raikkonen is we've got one driver who's at the top of his game, getting first every single race, and it's just incredible. But then you've got Spirit Raikkonen, who unfortunately just hasn't had that exact same pace as his teammate. The pace that we saw last season, which I don't know where that's gone, but came to games. Unfortunate
that's exactly the
he's
issue.
He's got caught in the crossfires of maybe the new regulations or something that's put him off. He's not attending races as much. He's just struggling, and I feel bad for him. But what can you do at that point? If he does turn up to France, then let's just pray that he gets the result that Lexus needs to hold on to that P1 in the constructors.
Yeah, that's the problem, because see, the league's now entering a point of expansion where so many people are coming in, where 2 new team slots have been added to accommodate all the new people joining in. Right? We were talking about how Bentley, the entire team, has been built from the people who are watching the streams and our content on the channel. Right?
Yeah.
When you're reaching that kind of expansion, you can't just keep adding more teams. I think 12 is the maximum we're going to have on the grid.
Yeah.
Right?
12 sounds logical.
12 is a logical amount. At that point, a team like Lexus leading the championship, they're going to start getting pressure from other drivers saying, I could be doing a better job than him. I could be in that seat and I could be helping. Right? And then you, as a team owner, you're starting to think, okay, wait, hold on. Should I really be giving this guy the seat, or should I give him a chance? Obviously, with the new contract system, Spirit cannot go anywhere unless he opts out of the seat. So it's really a case of Lexus has to stay there and give him as much support as he needs before either he decides that it's not a good idea, or until the end of the season. That's the only options there are, which is why they need to see if there's anything else that they can work out, or just see if they can extract the pace. Because last season, this guy was he got a podium at France. This very race that we're about to approach on Saturday, he got a podium here, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't put the argument of he was partnered up with a championship contender, so he might be having the pressure. He was partnered up with Basswood. That was the championship contender. He was the guy who was taking the fight to Young Lee, right? There was no pressure for Spirit then. That was his debut season, so he was obviously in the groove. But now he's been brought into the project of Lexus, and he just hasn't been able to perform. At first, you could say, he's not attending the races, so it's fine. But we saw in Hungary, he was not on the pace, and that wasn't amazing to see. I just don't know. Like, I hope the pace picks up. That's all you can really say at this moment. It's still, I guess you could say, quite early on in the season. We're halfway through now. So four or five more races to go, including this one. So I think we just gotta wait and see if he can pick up the pace. But it's definitely a topic that has been itching a lot of heads in the paddock.
It really is, and he did replace me last season, I think, because I got kicked out of McLaren in quite unfortunate circumstances. But
exactly,
yeah, no,
under that sort of hype, to replace you of all people, right? And then
yeah,
he did perform. He did perform in that
he,
season.
he to be fair, he lived up to the hype, and he did perform that season. I will back him up on that one. It was a deserved seat at that point. But I mean, obviously, I'm saying that because I've got a Mercedes seat, but that's out of the question. It all comes down to this season, and this season he's just not been there, and it's a shame. It really, really is, because Lexus, a top team, have signed him thinking, yeah, we've got ourselves an incredible young driver, and he's just struggled, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, it really is. So, I mean, I hope he picks up the pace. It could be a massive redemption arc. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah. There are two more. There are 2 more days of practice.
Exactly. So all is for play. All is for play. He could make it double podium here at France and prove the haters wrong. We just have to wait and see. And the final thing I want to talk about is obviously how is the dynamic between you and Luck at Fox Motorsport since the season started. I think that's something I wanted to ask.
That's a valid question.
Yeah, the first race, you guys were completely scrapping it out. Obviously not in like a beef way, but as friendly competitive rivalry, and you guys got away with a good race and a handful of good points. So, how's the dynamic been there, and what's the going forward?
Me and Luck, we get on really well. I mean, it's the battles we have are good fun. We really think about the way we drive really methodically, and when things go wrong, we just back each other up and say, head up, keep on going. It's not the end of the world. And I think that dynamic has really helped us really just propel ourselves to the top of the standings. But yeah, I mean, we get on really well. I think there's no bad blood between us. We're halfway through the season now in this next race, and I'll be sitting out instead of him this time, like it was in Singapore. So we'll see if he can really stay up there with Gertha and Lee. It's going to be tough, but I've got every faith in him, because we go back a long way, and there's no really bad blood between us whatsoever, to be honest.
That's great. Good to hear. And would you be able to tell the viewers about your plans for next season?
For next season?
Or are they still in the works?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, man. They are still in the works, to be honest. But the plan is, I will announce it here and now, that I will not be racing next season. So I will have to find someone else to partner Luck. Who it will be, I don't know. We're still figuring that one out in the Fox Motorsport factory. But it's I'm trying to get in contact with someone at the moment, and it's looking good. It's looking good.
I see. Okay. So is this you announcing a sabbatical, or is this you announcing your retirement, or was that still under debate?
Man, all I can say is I'm leaving the season. I can't put it down to retirement or sabbatical yet.
I got you. But all right. Well, you'll be missed, mate.
I'll be stepping down from owner driver to just owner. But Luck hopefully should remain in the team. He will become the new first driver, and who he's going to be partnered with is already in the talks. So,
all right. Well,
we'll let you guys judge that one.
Sweet. Well, four races to go, James. So you're not out of the equation just yet. So let's see if you can wrap this one up. It could be a great way to end things off.
if Lee stops winning every single race, then
I mean, it looks close, so we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see,
yeah,
mate. But thank you for
yeah,
joining me on today. It's been great, and we will catch you guys, the viewers, next week or straight after the race. I don't know, whenever we decide to do this again. It's really just
yeah.
us sitting in front of a microphone and absolutely waffle for half an hour. So I think we'll be fine, mate. But yeah,
I'm sure we'll get our content from the race
yeah,
this weekend.
exactly. The race, it's going to be eventful. Be sure to be there Saturday evening. We'll be streaming the whole thing live. You'll be joined by me and maybe James as well.
Yeah.
Time will tell. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See ya.